Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about what an INTJ likes about ENTPs. This is going to be a fun subject to talk about because I think it's something I have some experience in. I do know a seemingly disproportionate amount of ENTPs, so today this video is going to be strictly about patterns I've noticed with ENTPs, and not necessarily every ENTP is like this, but if you want a little insight into a number of ENTPs that I know, just like the patterns of like the stuff they do, that it's pretty much across the board. I'm gonna start this with saying ENTPs, like ENFPs, they both have said this to me, and I find it a little hilarious, but it pretty much paints the picture of what our relationship looks like and what we're able to accomplish and collab on. So yeah, they always say that they collect INTJs, so I've heard both of those types say that, which I think is pretty hilarious. You could take that negatively, or you could take it as a compliment, which I do because I like being around them, so I really don't care. It's just what it is. Which leads me into my first point. They have a very wide and diverse circle, very despairing people, very unique, unusual, and like I said, it's a very huge circle. So sometimes I wonder myself, how do they keep up with all those people? They don't let a lot of people get super close to them, so it's not like super close, but still it's a lot of people to keep up with. And somehow they manage it, and it works for them, and it's pretty awesome. They're definitely connectors. Yeah, they definitely connect people on a big time scale, and it can sometimes be really fun to be within their like circle. That leads them to often be called the life of the party, which is true, but not exactly true. They approach the social realm out of curiosity, out of stimulation, like they like talking to people to see what their perspective of something is. They find that fascinating. They add that to their like little bank of perspectives and wild ideas, and so it's like all right there, and they can go back to it. So people are a good resource for them. They love that. And they're often very out there and engaging, so people can be like, oh, they're the life of the party, or maybe they're having a debate with somebody, and they're taking, like, everyone in the room is quiet and just listening to them, and so it just seems like, oh, they're just the center of attention all the time, but it's not necessarily a huge thing for them. It's not like an ENFP or an ESFP, which is classically they are stimulated off of being the center of attention. It's not that for them. It's more of curiosity that's leading them to be that way. Just very curious. Way more curious than I am willing to be. That is not a social motivator for me. It's just not. It's not a social motivator. But they have what I call an on and off switch. And if you don't know an ENTP outside of a more public eye, you might not see the side of them. Although occasionally they will do this in public, but it doesn't happen very often. It's this off switch where they're almost like a completely different person. They're very quiet. They're very like thoughtful, almost brooding looking. You can tell they are definitely thinking about something. Their mind is wrapped up in something at the moment, and you know when they come out of that like realm, they are going to come back with a really cool idea or perception of something that you know, I can't wait to hear, and so you just have to be patient with them. They go back and forth through this thing, which is a little bit different than myself, where I tend to be pretty much the same all the time. Like, that's just how I am. But they have this unique on and off switch, I call it. So it's really cool. So because they can take very despairing, like I was talking about, very despairing people, they can take very despairing ideas, thoughts, and they can see a connection that I can't see, because I look at it, I can only see it as, oh, that's very despairing, because I've already ruled out or misjudged something, but they can see that this connects and this connects, and you see this connection. And so when they bring that up, I find that very insightful and very, it's mind-blowing. It really is, because I totally neglected that, because I'm looking for this organized pattern, and they're looking at something that, I mean, it's out in left field in my opinion, but to them it's not out in left field, and they oftentimes do have they have a point. And so it's been very good for me to see that perspective. This is so cliche, it sounds so cliche. They always, because in the MBTI community, they label as the debater, the devil's advocate. I hear those thrown around a lot of times, but I will have to say, it is very true for them. It's very true. An ENTP will almost across the board always take the opposite side. An argument, and if I'm having a debate with them or a conversation, I can predict they'll pretty much always take the opposite side. And they're not doing it out of, oh, they just like it. They do it because I think that that's how they process things. That's how they come to their own conclusions about stuff. And that's just their way of doing it. And I admit, it can get frustrating sometimes, because you're talking to them and you're trying to you're like, I know you know this. Like, I just know that you know this is the actual answer. And they do seek for truth. They want to know truth. They just come about it in a different way than I do. And so sometimes it's hard for me to be patient and be like, let them sort that out for themselves. But yeah, so that, as cliche as it sounds, that observation of them is very, very true. And it has held up in all situations. Male, female, it just is it is what it is. And I forgot to mention this, but ENTPs, male or female, I've had a very good experience with. This is definitely going off on a bunny trail, but I wanted to mention this earlier and just plumb forgot. I think all 16 personality types, they're all unique and are all very different, and we all have different people that we will collaborate well with, that we will grow as a person with their insight in our lives. And for everyone, that can be different. Even the same personality type can find people that are completely different for that. Like, other INTJs like other types, or feel like other types help them in certain ways. For me personally, and people might argue with this, they might say, it's too many NT types together, but I would say I have a high respect, and I'm very jealous of two types, that would be ENTJs and ENTPs, and what led me to making this video. I have a lot of respect for them, and there's a lot of this is almost really weird, like there's this instant loyalty between my type and those types in the situations I've been in, that we got each other's back. And in some situations where I've really struggled, if I'm trying to scale a wall or something, a hierarchy or whatever I'm trying to do, and to come up against that kind of loyalty, and like I said, it's really weird. It would not be something you would expect, but there's this loyalty and looking out for each other that feeling types might look at it and be like, they couldn't imagine that that would like be in a friendship, in friendships of these types. Like they could not imagine that actually happening, but it does. It does. There's living proof of it. So yes, I just wanted to mention that quick before I move on. They love knowledge for knowledge's sake and random facts. And why I say they love knowledge for knowledge's sake, I love knowledge too. But they come at it slightly different than me. They're willing to be a little bit more all over the board. When I am researching, I always have this like really narrow tunnel vision, this reason, and then I'm just like super focused on that. They are more bunny trail people, and they love bunny trails, and it drives me nuts. I can't handle that. It's not how I learn well. I always have this like one subject I'm like super zoomed in, and I might completely change another week, but I'm like really focused on that, and I don't like bunny trails. So yeah, they can be a lot more random and all over the place, and because they have all these random facts, it is really hard to have a conversation with one of them and bring something up that they have never heard of before. Like, they know about something, somehow, somewhere, they run across it, read it. I mean, that's the notorious one I always hear. It's like, oh, I read about that, because they love to read, and that is why there's like an instant connection between me and ENTPs. Like I said, across the board, male or female, they love books. They actually like books. They collect books. They read books. They want to talk about books. They want to be, yeah, just in books. And just like their knowledge and like facts, like it's always all over the place. Like they read on a very wide array of subjects, and I do too. It's not that. They just are really good at jumping around better than I am. I'm like, yeah, I don't jump around as much. They jump around in a lot of things, and like knowledge and passions. They'll get passionate about something, and you know, it's only for a little bit, where I might stay on a passion or an idea or a book longer than they will. So it's just, yeah, they jump around a lot, but that's what makes them exciting to be around, because they got so many things going at one moment that it's like, oh, you know, it's interesting. It's very interesting. And I would say they are way more bolder with their opinions than INTJs. I'm very opinionated, I'll admit that up front. But there's a lot of times I just don't have to deal with emotional fallout. I just don't want to deal with it. I really don't. And they are, I don't know the exact answer to this. I don't know if they're more okay with dealing with it, or they don't maybe care as much. It doesn't bother them, but just like emotionalism just bothers me, so I just like don't want to, yeah, I just don't want to open up that can of worms. So I'll have an opinion, but I'll just keep it to myself, and I'm happy. But yeah, there are a lot more out there with opinions, which is good, because some things need to be brought up. So yeah, that's a very good thing. Another thing I've noticed is they're very youthful, but it's this weird thing, like they mature really fast. Like, what's cool about it is I've known a lot of ENTPs, and it's a wide age range, and like I said, a big mix of male and female, so a lot of experience with different ages. What I've noticed is teenage ENTPs, they will grow up really fast. Like they will mature way ahead of their peers, but then like they'll get to this like 18 mark, and it's like they stay there. I'm not saying they're immature, but they always have this childlike curiosity and this youthful vibrance that's I'm lacking. I don't have that so much. So yeah, they're definitely like that. So it's weird, but it's funny. Their leadership style is very unique, and I'm gonna say this because I was able to observe this. I was an assistant to, and still I'm an assistant to an ENTP who works in this company, and I can kind of observe them closely, and I have a couple other ENTPs that at my own jobs that I've worked at, and have collaborated on, very close friends that I've collaborated on projects and big things together. So I've watched them in leadership, and it's funny, you wouldn't think it, but a lot of them have been put in a lot of leadership positions. People just assume that of them, even though sometimes I see a little bit of the chaos in the background. They're really good at hiding their chaos, though. I will notice that. They can be very messy individuals. But they have this really, like, relaxed air about them that, and they just, I've noticed in some leadership positions, they've handled it so much better than another type that I would have expected could have handled it. Not that they weren't dealing with some crazy stuff and they weren't a total mess, but they just, it's really funny to see them on a project or in a work environment. It's almost like every day's a party to them, and they find a way to talk to everybody, coworkers, friends, keep up with everybody, and have this blast, and like sharing random facts to people, and I'm just like, how can you have this time to party? And we're like supposed to be on schedule, and they stay on schedule, they get all these things done, and you're just like, how do they do that? I don't even understand. I can't like wrap my brain around that. Yeah, they are very social, so it's a great place to socialize, and they also, they're a little bit, I'll get into this later, but they're better at being more positive about people. I don't know, like, I'm a really bad team player. And they're just a little bit better about being that team player. They just expect that certain people get things done, and I think they know just as well as we do the downsides, and like they see the things people do. Like it's not like they're blind to it, but they're just a little bit more positive and optimistic. So that makes them more, they're not going to micromanage. They're going to give the people under them a lot of autonomy. I've seen that a lot, and it's worked out for them in a lot of ways, and I admire that. They've made that work, and it's not perfect all the time, but they are very stress-free, and I wish that I could be more of a team player and like take advantage of that, but I just can't. I run around and do my own thing, and I'm stressed a lot, but it's how I operate. So they're very good at bringing up very controversial and awkward subjects, and they will even do this in a pretty large group setting. I've noticed this on a lot of occasions with a lot of different ones, so this is like across the board for them. Yeah, very touchy, sometimes really touchy subjects, like getting down there with like politics and morals, like things people just fly off the handle about. And they can have sometimes the most calmest conversation, like it's almost calm, like, and it's with people who are like, it'll be in a big group setting with people who hugely despairing views, and they'll like be really good at like tucking in their insights here and there, and I think maybe they even enjoy seeing, like, they're not social experimenters, I mean, but kind of they are in a sense. They enjoy watching how people interact and seeing, like, if I say this or do this, what will make people, like, we like to, like, INTJs like to experiment that way too, but they take it to a whole different level, and they take it more socially. Like you know how, like, INTPs, okay, going off on a little rant here, but INTPs are big experimenters. The world is like a lab room to them, and they experiment a lot. ENTPs will do, INTPs are going to do it with more like things and theories and ideas, and ENTP will take it a little bit more socially, so it's hilarious to watch, because I just watched that whole thing play out, and yeah, I, like, stuff they say, I have to laugh so hard sometimes, because it's, and it's hard to get me to do that, but they are really good at getting a laugh out of me, and it's because I'm just like, I cannot believe you got away with saying that. Like, I know I could not. Like, somehow they just have a gift for that I'm never gonna have, and that's why it's so amusing to be around them, because, yeah, that stuff happens a lot, and it can really change people's perspectives, right? I mean, people will walk away like in a group setting like that, and then bringing up those controversial things, and people end up walking away, ugh, computer. People end up walking away and being like, and like not upset, and I'm just like, how? But I mean, it's not perfect all the time, and then this brings up another point. They are often labeled as being the center of controversy, and that's because they're more bolder with their opinions. They're willing to bring up these awkward, touchy subjects. Yeah, and just like it's sometimes even embarrassing things, like things people would just not talk about. Not that, I mean, maybe we should talk about them. I don't know. They'll, like I said, I have the most randomest conversations, the most weirdest stuff. It's always entertaining, but because they do this, sometimes they're put as the center of controversy, understandably, because it sometimes backfires on them, I will say. Like I said, they get away with it a lot, but yes, it will occasionally backfire on them. Which leads me to, they are just, and I mentioned this earlier, they're just better at, it's so interesting to talk to them because they can sometimes be more of a positive light in my life than other personality types, like cheer me up more, because I know they see the same things I'm seeing when we have a conversation. They know the reality of, like, and I'll be talking like, this is the reality of this, and they'll agree with you, but they're more optimistic about something. They see the potential of something happening more than maybe I do, and they're just like, you know what, I think this is going to work out, or this might change, or maybe you don't see this completely. And so they're a lot more optimistic, and I admire and am jealous of that because I wish I could be more optimistic. So yeah, they're not near as negative. A lot more upbeat. Not that they don't have their negative times and their negative rants, and because I've been a part of those, but just a lot more optimistic. And this is gonna sound funny and weird, but they love having INTJs as sidekicks across the board. It's like their favorite thing to, like I said earlier about them collecting INTJs, they'll say that they like to collect them, and they love having them as sidekicks. And as I was saying earlier, I was an assistant to an ENTP, and they worked in a company, and from my perspective, I love being their sidekick just as much as they like having a sidekick, because I could be out from under the radar. So the ENTP was like taking the show, leading it. I could be out from under the radar, and I could give them perspectives, insights, ideas. We could brainstorm together about things, because I was like I said, out from under the radar. I did not have the same, I could sometimes, how do I say this? Like, because of their position, because of what they were dealing with, they could sometimes not see or pay attention to certain things that I had time or could pay attention to, and I could bring, and so it was like this well-rounded perception of things. And even like because of their position, I could just be in different places at different times and with different people and just different things that I could just get ideas on and come back to them. And so it was very much partners in crime. So it's very dangerous if you have an INTJ ENTP team going on doing something, especially in the workforce or on a big project or on a big theory or something. You can be sure it's gonna be pretty. It'll be pretty I mean, like it'll be amazing. It'll be very volatile, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in like it is gonna be a force to be reckoned with. They are definitely a force to be reckoned with. And as I said earlier, they're severe like loyalty to each other. It's like really hard to explain. And it's like this with the ENTJs too, but I just like a severe loyalty, stick up for each other, have each other's backs at all times. It's awesome. It's really awesome. It's all the things that I look for in social interactions, and I always come away refreshed, rejuvenated, new ideas, new perspectives, and it helps me just grow. And I know this is so against what is touted in sometimes MBTI communities. They say opposite types should collaborate on things, opposite types should work together, friends, romantic relationships, whatever it is. But I've had really good success And I just really wanted to make this video. I don't know quite how to say this, or like, because I'm not good with this stuff, but like, you know, I really appreciate you guys. Keep up your good work. You have a lot to offer the world. You're very unique, which I'm sure you already know this because you guys got a boatload of confidence, so you don't need my confidence boost. But really awesome people. I admire you. I respect you a lot. And I encourage other INTJs, find your ENTP that you can like collaborate on something with, because like I said, the project, the theory, the idea, the work, whatever you're doing is gonna just like, it'll just blow up, and I mean blow up in a good way, because it will just have so much perspective and back and forth on it that it'll be like bulletproof, and really, it'll be really awesome. It might be missing out a little bit in the emotional realm, but I don't know. It's something I went way over on time. So appreciate your time. I want you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you think. ENTPs, INTJs, who've known ENTPs, you guys have worked together, how it's worked out, what you guys appreciate about each other. Yeah, it's just really awesome. So thank you so much, guys.